started the night I heard footsteps, and I live alone. I know how it sounds. Overdone, predictable, but it wasn't. Not for me. I lived alone for 6 years. Nothing ever happened. I have routines. I lock up by 10. Brush my teeth for 2 full minutes. 2 pillows on the left, 1 on the right. I sleep with the door cracked open so I can see the hallway light. Always. That night was just like any other. It rained lightly. The wind pushed against the trees outside my apartment. I remember the hum of my fridge and the slight flicker in the hallway bulb, but nothing unusual, until I heard it. Not loud, not menacing, just footsteps, software heavy, not mine. I froze, sitting upright in bed, holding my breath. I told myself it was the wind, a neighbor. My upstairs tenant is dropping something, but the thing is, there is no upstairs tenant. I live on the top floor. I waited. 5 minutes passed, then 10. Nothing. I got up and walked around the apartment. Slowly. Light switch on. Bathroom. Empty. Kitchen. Nothing. But I swear to you, the air felt thicker, like walking into a room where someone had just been. You know that feeling? The warmth, the residue of presence. I dismissed it, went back to bed. The next morning, my bedroom door was shut completely. I never sleep with it shut. That was the first night I remember something being off. Not wrong, not evil, just off. Like a chair moved slightly, or a picture frame leaning when it was level yesterday. I didn't say anything to anyone. I didn't want to sound crazy. I just went about my day. Work, emails, groceries, same routine. But that night, as I got into bed, I left the door cracked again. I even checked it twice. At 2:17 a.m., I woke up again. Footsteps, again. Only this time, they were inside my apartment. I lay still. I didn't breathe. I kept my eyes on the crack in the door. Nothing. But I remember it. The hallway lights blinked. Just once. Like someone passed in front of it. And then it was quiet. So quiet. I could hear my heart. I didn't sleep the rest of the night. When the sun came up, I opened the door. And there was nothing. The days after that night felt ordinary. But they weren't. To question myself. I noticed little things. Nothing dramatic. Overtired. Just small shifts. Maybe. The first was my phone charger. That morning, I always coil it neatly beside my bed. Like someone had that morning, it was stretched out. Like someone had tugged it across the floor. Then the keys. I hang them on a small hook by the front door. Always have. That day, they were resting on the kitchen counter. I told myself I was forgetful. I'd been distracted. But I couldn't shake the sense that I wasn't alone. My cat, Lola, started acting strange. She wouldn't go into the hallway, wouldn't sleep in my room anymore, always watching something behind me. There was a smell in the apartment too, like old clothes that had been sealed in a box, musky, damp. I checked every corner, nothing. But the hallway bulb flickered more often, and then one night, it went out completely. I replaced it. The next morning, it was dead again. I replaced it again. The next morning, same thing. 3 nights in a row, gone. Lola wouldn't go near that hallway anymore. I started leaving the bathroom light on instead. It made me feel safer, but it didn't help the feeling. It was like I was being watched, not constantly, but in certain moments. When I passed the mirror, when I opened the fridge, when bent down to pick up laundry, just a second too long. That's how long it felt like something was standing behind me. I told myself I was imagining things, but I started locking the bedroom door at night. It didn't stop the noise, scraping from the walls, just behind the plaster, like fingernails. It was faint, almost like static, but once you hear it, you can't unhear it. I pressed my ear to the wall. Nothing. But when I pulled away, I swear I heard something shift, like it was retreating. By the fifth night, I woke up to a spoon on the kitchen floor. I hadn't cooked in 2 days. A chair was pulled slightly away from the dining table. I stopped turning off the hallway camera. I needed to know. The recordings showed nothing. Just silence, stillness, until one clip, 1:56 a.m. The camera staticked for 3 seconds, and when it came back, the door to my bedroom was slightly more open than before, only by an inch, maybe less, but enough. Enough to tell me that something was moving when I wasn't watching. I started taking notes. At first, just to stay sane. To prove to myself I wasn't imagining it all. Day 1. Keys moved. Day 2. Light bulb out again. Day 3. The closet door is open 3 inches. Each night, the bedroom door moved a little more. And each morning, something shifted back. I tried to test it. I set traps. I taped the hallway rug with a strip of paper, the kind that tears easily if stepped on. I placed a pencil beside the door frame. If it rolled even slightly, I'd know. By the next morning, the pencil was gone. Not moved. Gone. I found it 2 days later, in the freezer. There's no explanation for that. I live alone. No visitors. No sleepwalking. I started filming everything. My phone, the hallway cam, even a borrowed thermal camera from a friend in building maintenance. Still, nothing obvious. But when I slowed the footage frame by frame, I saw something I can't explain. At 3:43 a.m., a shadow moved across the far wall. Just once, just briefly, but it didn't match anything in the room. I replayed it 37 times. Then I deleted it, not out of fear, out of denial. I wanted to believe I'd misread it, that there was some explanation. I started noticing it in my dreams. Not a figure, not a shape, just a presence. Every time I closed my eyes, I felt like I was being studied, watched from a corner I couldn't quite turn to. I began to dread nightfall, not just the darkness, but the transition. The moment the world outside went quiet, the silence in my apartment became too heavy. I called an old friend, asked him to stay the night. He came, we ate, watched old movies. He joked about my paranoia. I didn't sleep, but he did. And when he woke up, his suitcase was unzipped, clothes scattered, his phone missing. We found it under the couch, still recording. The audio was corrupt, but it caught one phrase, low, muffled, and not either of our voices. It said, "She knows." I didn't ask him to stay again. I just kept taking notes. By the third week, I couldn't take it anymore. I packed a weekend bag. I told myself I'd go stay with my sister, clear my head, breathe. But the night before I was set to leave, my passport disappeared. I tore the apartment apart. Every drawer, every shelf, every book. Nothing. I keep it in a locked drawer by my desk. The key was still there, but the drawer was empty. No sign of forced entry, no broken lock, just gone. The next day, I called out of work, stayed home, and watched. Every light in the apartment was on, every door wide open. I kept my phone camera on record. At 2:44 p.m., the hallway light flickered. Once, twice, then steady. Nothing happened until night fell. At exactly 11:03 p.m., my phone buzzed. One notification. Unknown Bluetooth device nearby. I don't use Bluetooth. I don't own speakers. No earbuds. Just my phone. I shut it off immediately, but the signal kept popping up. Then the smoke detector beeped. Just once. I checked. No smoke. No issue. But it pulled me into the hallway, and I swear, for just a second, the floor beneath my feet felt different. Software like carpet. My hallway is tiled. I looked down. It was tile, as always. I stepped back, and the light blew out again. The darkness felt inhabited. I backed away slowly. I locked myself in the bathroom, slept in the tub with the lights on. The next morning, there were muddy footprints by the tub. I don't wear shoes inside. I tried to leave again, called a cab, packed my things. As I waited by the door, the cab texted me, "Here." But outside, there was nothing. No car, no driver, just silence. I called back. The number was dead. I went to the window and stared down at the street. Nothing but an empty lane. Then my phone buzzed again. "Your ride has been cancelled." That night, I stayed at a hotel. I checked in, left the lights on, double locked the door, and I woke up the next morning to find my hallway rug from the apartment sitting at the foot of the bed. That was the moment I knew it wasn't the apartment, it was following me. I started measuring everything, literally. I bought a small tape measure, marked where things were, took pictures, logged times. The rug in the living room moved every night, just an inch to the left. The sofa legs left tiny marks on the floor, not the same as the day before. The toothbrush in the holder turned slightly sideways by morning. I even marked the cereal boxes, used stickers. One night, the red sticker I placed on the Frosted Flakes box was gone. The next morning, it was stuck on the back of my leg. I don't sleepwalk. I never have. I asked a neighbor if she noticed anything odd. She just stared at me and said, "Are you okay? We heard you talking last night. Loud, arguing." I hadn't said a word. I stopped asking questions after that. Instead, I wired my apartment. Motion sensors, pressure sensors, baby monitors. Every single one activated between 3 a.m. and 3:20 a.m. for 5 nights in a row. Always near the hallway, always near the closet. I never opened that closet at night. One night, I left my phone in there, recording. Nothing but soft clicks, rhythmic, repetitive, until the last 5 seconds, when something whispered, "You moved it." I didn't recognize the voice, but it was mine. I played it back 100 times. I tried to convince myself it was a trick, audio overlap, echo. But deep down, I knew it wasn't. That's when I noticed the shadows weren't matching. The angle of the lamplight would cast a shadow to the left, but something in the corner would cast one to the right. I tested it, shone a flashlight, took photos, compared them. Something was wrong with the way light worked in my apartment. It felt like the space was warped, bent, as if another version of the room sat an inch beside it, close but not aligned. I lay in bed one night, completely still, listening. At 3:07 a.m. I felt the blanket lift, just a bit, enough to expose my feet. I didn't move, didn't scream, just listen. The floor creaked, slowly, toward the bed. Then nothing. When I looked down, there was a smear of dirt on the floorboards. Not like mud, like dust from a crawl space. I followed it, into the hallway, toward the vent. It had been shifted open, only an inch. That night, I slept in the bathtub again. In the morning, I found all my measuring tape curled into a perfect spiral, placed gently beside my toothbrush. I didn't touch it. I just stared at it and whispered, "I know you're here." That was the first night I felt it, breathing with me, in sync, 1 inch away. It was a Tuesday when I first heard it. The voice, not in the room, on the recording. I'd placed an audio recorder near the hallway vent, left it running overnight. 12 hours of dead silence, I assumed. But at 3:12 a.m., a voice whispered something I'll never forget. "Don't close it." It wasn't my voice. It wasn't human. The pitch was slightly off, not robotic, not distorted, just wrong. I listened again, louder. "Don't close it." "What? What shouldn't I close?" I started sleeping with the recorder on. Night after night, I logged hours of nothing, hums, room tone, footsteps from neighbors above. But one night, something different. A breath, long, slow, right next to the microphone. Then, a second voice. "He hears us now." I froze, rewound it, played it on 3 different devices. Same thing, clear as day. He hears United States. Now, I hadn't told anyone what I was doing. I hadn't spoken aloud during those recordings. It knew, it was aware. And then came the laughter, a low chuckle, childlike, but aged, like a child mimicking an adult's laugh. It lasted 14 seconds. I counted. On the recording, the laugh is followed by a dragging noise. I checked every inch of that hallway. Nothing had been moved, no marks, no debris. But when I leaned close to the vent, it was warm. Air doesn't come through that vent. It's sealed. I placed a camera inside it. Nothing. Until the 4th night. At 3:08 a.m., the lens clouded over, like condensation. Then a faint outline appeared. A shape, not clear, not defined, but there. The frame cut out after 6 seconds. Static. I never found that SD card again. It vanished. In its place was a pair of old metal buttons. Buttons I didn't own. I felt watched constantly now, even during the day. Once, I heard my own voice behind me. Clear, loud. "Leave now." I turned around. Nothing. I checked the recorder. No voice. Just static. The entity was learning me, wasn't just in the walls anymore. It was in the devices, in the air, in the gaps between what we hear and what we don't. That night, I dreamt I was standing in the hallway, listening to myself sleep in bed. I woke up, standing in the hallway, and the recorder was in my hand, still running, recording. Silence, except for one whisper. He's ready. I didn't sleep again for 3 days. I called my landlord. I asked him, "Does this building have an attic?" He laughed, said number, just insulation above the ceiling tiles. Nothing up there, not even a crawl space. But that didn't match what I'd found, because I'd been hearing it, scraping above the ceiling. Not rats, not settling pipes. Something heavier, something deliberate. I bought a stepladder, pulled it into the hallway. Right above the linen closet, there was a small square panel, painted the same color as the ceiling, but different. Slightly recessed. I pushed on it. Nothing. I used a knife, cut the paint line, tried again. This time it shifted. Not open, just loose. I stood there for a full minute, staring at that panel. Then I pulled. Dust rained down on me, black, thick, cold. Behind the panel was a dark, empty void. I held my phone up, using the flashlight. At first, just insulation. Then, shredded fabric, clothing, a jacket, half of a shoe, wrappers, torn papers, dried food. Someone had been living up there, or something. I reached inside. My hand brushed something soft. I yanked it down. It was a small teddy bear. Its eyes were missing. I dropped it and backed away. I wanted to run, but my feet wouldn't move. Then I heard it, not above. Beside me, a whisper. "Close it." I slammed the panel shut and duct taped it shut. Then I moved every piece of furniture I had beneath it. A bookshelf, a nightstand, anything with weight. The next morning, everything was pushed back in place, and the duct tape was peeled away cleanly, as if by a careful hand. That day, I called the landlord again, told him I heard movement in the ceiling. He sent someone to check. The maintenance guy came, climbed the ladder, opened the panel, shined his flashlight in. He didn't speak for a long time. Then he came down, slowly. He looked at me and said, "You should get someone to bless this place." I asked what he saw. He said, "Nothing. But it's not right." I moved my bed into the living room. That night, I heard footsteps on the ceiling, but heavier now. They paced directly above me, then stopped. Then something scraped the inside of the attic panel. Not scratching, fingertips, like someone slowly dragging their hand across it. I didn't sleep that night, and the next morning, my phone had 17 missed alarms. I'd set one, and the attic panel was wide open. I thought finding the attic would give me control, that knowing would mean safety, but it didn't. After that night, the one with the panel wide open, I didn't leave the couch. I stopped going into the hallway entirely. I taped every vent shut, moved every camera to face every corner. I left the TV on 24/7, volume low, just so there was always some noise. Still, I heard it. Every night, something walking, under the floorboards, inside the ceiling, through the walls, not pacing, hunting. I don't know when I started saying it. I never saw anything, but I felt it, watching me, testing me. I stopped eating. I started hallucinating. Or maybe not. Maybe they weren't visions. Maybe they were memories being pushed to the surface. I remembered a night months ago, before any of this, waking up in the middle of the night, seeing my bedroom door wide open, and a shape, not outside the door, inside, by the dresser, perfectly still. It had been watching me before I even realized. It had been living there. It had been living there all along. The signs were everywhere. The missing groceries, the reappearing toothbrush, the missing time. I checked my cloud storage. Video logs I didn't recognize had been uploaded, all from a hidden folder, footage of me sleeping. From above, one angle looked down at me from the ceiling corner. I paused it, enhanced it, and saw it, a face, just barely, peeking from behind the air vent, not blinking, not moving, just there, watching me. I threw up, I screamed. I ran into the hallway, and I heard the door close. Behind me, by the time I got back in, everything was silent. But the couch cushions had shifted. My blanket was warm, like someone had just gotten up. It was there. It was living there the entire time. I was never alone. I don't know how it got in. I don't know if it ever left. But that night, I stopped calling it, because I think it was learning to become me. I moved out the next day. I didn't tell anyone. Not friends, not family. I just packed a bag, grabbed my cat, and left. The building looked the same, but I didn't. I'd lost 10 pounds. My eyes were sunken. My voice was always hoarse. I stayed with my sister, and for a few days, nothing happened. No noises, no missing objects, no shadows. I started to breathe again, even laughed once. Then, on the 5th morning, I found something on the bathroom counter. My toothbrush, the same one from the old apartment. Blue handle, worn bristles. I'd thrown it away weeks ago. I asked my sister about it. She said it had been there all along. I knew it hadn't. I checked my bag. The same shirt I wore the night I heard the first footsteps was folded neatly at the top, clean, pressed. I hadn't packed it. That night, the lights in her guest room flickered. The hallway door creaked open, and I heard breathing. Not hers, and not mine. I didn't scream. I didn't move. I just lay there, eyes wide, listening to it move around the room. I waited until morning, packed my things, checked into a motel 3 towns over, slept for 2 hours, and when I woke up, there was a sticky note on the mirror. 2 words, still here. I don't know what it wants. I don't know if it followed me, or if it was always inside me. The police found nothing at the apartment. No signs of intrusion, no fingerprints, no DNA, no attic belongings, nothing. They said I imagined it. The building was clean, but I wasn't. I haven't been the same since. Sometimes I feel like I've never really left that place, like part of me is still standing in that hallway. Door cracked open, waiting to see what comes next, and in the dead of night, when everything goes quiet, I hear it again. He knows.